Once again, Marvel is giving us all the feels and a lot of excitement. The new Spider-Man trailers dropped, and we're super excited to see the new movie. Spider-Man No Way Home is going to change everything. What massive role will Doctor Strange play? Will this be the last Spider-Man with Tom Holland? Will a major character die? We'll be breaking that and so much more down in this video. Does everyone know Spider-Man's secret identity? Okay, so this is your spoiler alert for Spider-Man Far From Home, and it's ending. At the end of the movie, Mysterio had revealed that Spider-Man and Peter Parker are the same person. But even before that, MJ had already realized who Peter really was. Either way, we start the movie with the entire world that knows exactly who Peter is, that he's actually Spider-Man. And that isn't always such a great thing. When Tony Stark admitted that he was Iron Man, people lost their minds, and there was a lot of dangers that the people that were close to him faced. But the difference was that Tony Stark was an adult and he chose to reveal his own secret identity, so he knew what he was getting himself into. Plus, he was Tony Stark. He was loaded, one of the richest guys in the Marvel universe, so I'm pretty sure he was more equipped to make sure that everyone he loved was completely safe. Peter doesn't have any of that. Looks like Spider-Man No Way Home is set just after Far From Home. The world has just found out and they are still very hyped about the revelations. It's going to show how things play out and how Peter and his friends and family deal with the revelations. Who's getting accused of murder? Sadly and really surprisingly, it looks like the world is turning against Peter and blaming him for the death of Mysterio. I guess all those things that he has saved the world with the rest of the Avengers and all his own just doesn't matter to anyone anymore. And I'm thinking people still don't believe that Mysterio is really a bad guy. Now, poor Peter's become public enemy number one, and from the looks of things, he even looks like he is being accused of murdering Mysterio. A murder we all know he didn't commit, but it didn't seem like anyone believes his innocence. At least his friends are sticking with Peter, but things aren't looking good for your friendly neighborhood Spidey. Things are tense. And what's worse, he doesn't even have his friend and mentor Tony Stark to return to anymore. Things are going pretty badly, and I'm sure Peter just wishes he could turn back time or cast some sort of spell or do something completely to change everything. Too bad that isn't a thing, right? Except this is Marvel and Peter does actually know Doctor Strange. You know, the guy that's some seriously magical powers and can do all sorts of cool and strange things. Could he help Peter get out of the mess that Mysterio left behind? Why is the Sanctum covered in snow? The trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home shows Peter visiting Stephen's Sanctum, and it's completely covered in snow. But no explanation is given for the situation. One theory is that they just still haven't fixed the giant Hulk-sized hole that was left in their roof, but I don't know entirely by that one. The shot just before that seems to show that the weather outside of the Sanctum is warm and sunny. Besides, things are generally more metaphorical when it comes to Doctor Strange and the things that surround him. All the snow and cold might be an indication of Stephen's mood and that he's feeling cold and desolate after everything that has happened in the last few years. That could be why he's agreeing to help Peter in the first place. Otherwise, it seems really out of character for him to be willing to change things for Peter and mess with the timeline unnecessarily. On the other hand, he could have just done a spell that has gone really wrong, and that's the reason for all the snow. I'm not really sure, but I can't wait to find out. What's your theory about all the snow? Let me know what you think if you have any other ideas in the comments. Why did they try to fix things? After sharing everything that's happened with Stephen, he agrees to do a spell to make everyone forget who Peter is. Even though Wong makes it very clear that doing the spell is just looking for another disaster to happen. But whoever listens to Wong, as soon as he leaves for an unknown location, Peter and Stephen get started on the spell. The only problem is that Peter wants to decide who remembers the truth and who doesn't. You would think that they would have figured out that messing with the timeline and with the multiverse isn't the best idea. But then if they did, we wouldn't have much to watch, would we? So they cast the spell with the changes added by Peter, who knows nothing about magic, and things start to go wrong from the start. With the changes in the multiverse, it could mean that any person who's been in any version of Spider-Man, movies or comics, could be in play, and it opens up the world completely. It also puts Peter and all his loved ones in a lot of danger. We've already seen how things are going to be really different after this Spider-Man movie, especially if you consider how each movie affects all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But hang in there, we'll be answering some of the most burning questions next. Will a major character die? Will this be the last Spider-Man featuring Tom Holland, and which epic baddies will appear in this movie? Let's take a look. Will a major character die? Will this be the last movie with Tom Holland and the rest of the gang? Don't go anywhere because we're about to get into the questions you're all asking. Will a major character die? We aren't sure. There have been a few indications that some of the biggest characters of the comics might make an appearance and might even die. These movies with Tom Holland haven't completely followed the comics in perfect order or story. Now we saw a battle on this iconic George Washington Bridge. Fans of the comics will remember that it's a pretty important location because that was where Gwen Stacy was killed. The only thing that we haven't actually seen Gwen Stacy in these movies, so it could be that we're going to finally meet her in this series of movies. Or they could just keep the location and adapt MJ's storyline and have her meet this same classic comic book demise, especially since it's been hinted that Gwen's killer might be making an appearance. But more on that next. We don't really know what's going to happen next, but brace yourself, it is very possible for a Marvel movie to kill off some of our most beloved and important characters. They don't care about our feelings. It could be very likely that they will see a major death in this movie. And with the multiverse in play, no one's destiny is assured. Things can be completely turned upside down. Which bad guys will appear? The trailer was packed full of Easter eggs from some of the most iconic bad guys from the Spider-Verse to appear. They even hinted that some of the bad guys from previous movies before the Tom Holland era might appear in this movie. We actually saw Dr. Octopus making an actual appearance. That means we're sure that he's in it, but we also saw a green pumpkin bomb, like those used by the Green Goblin, that rolls in from behind the smoke, and his evil and slightly creepy but yet iconic laugh that is heard from the smoke. We also have a small hint of the next big bad guy of the MCU, Mephisto, that has already been hinted at in WandaVision and in Loki. It's possible that he could actually appear in this movie too. Some have even said that they think that Doctor Strange could be an imposter or that he's being controlled. We'll have to wait to see who actually appears. Will this be the last movie with Tom Holland and the rest of the gang? Originally, Tom Holland has only signed a contract for 3 Spider-Man movies. That isn't counting the other appearances that he's made in different Avengers movies along the way too. But even without this will be the last movie that he's signed a contract for. He's said that he's open to doing more movies, but we just don't know. I do think it's more likely that they'll continue on with Tom as Spider-Man, even if others have played the part. He's been a big part of the MCU when the other guys were just playing the part in their own movies. It was the same as when Mark Ruffalo started playing Hulk. Before him, there were other guys playing the part, but he was the one that stuck because fans came to see him as the real Hulk. I'm hoping the same will be true of any future adaptations of Spider-Man in the MCU. I can't wait to see the new Spider-Man movie. Share your theories with us in the comments section. Thanks for watching.